Kron, the boy with time powers, scored a 100. Ion scored a 1000 but could only do it in lightning form. Then Darkspeed came forward. He ran the course so fast it didn't look like he moved. The coaches anticipated this and took him out of the pit. Outside the pit, the coaches led him to a bot pointing a very bright laser off into the desert. The laser stops on a bot in the desert. That bot then points to another bot, and so on. Make your way to the last bot, then back here the exact same way, Coach Inferno said. Any questions? Coach Spurs asked. Darkspeed was bouncing up and down, taking deep breaths. His eyes were focused on the ground, and he didn't speak to the coach. Son, I asked you if you were ready, Spurs said louder. Darkspeed looked like he was ready to fight with the coach. He finally looked at him and just nodded. Okay, go, the coach said. Somewhere on the start of the G of go, Darkspeed was gone. In the dugout, the computer was tracking Darkspeed as he ran his extended obstacle course. He's controlling his friction and inertia, Lucy said to Bobby. Look at these readings. He's not even disturbing the air or sand as he runs. Darkspeed appeared at the beginning of the course next to Coach Spurs. The coach touched his earpiece and spoke directly into the dugout. Did you get all the readings that you need? Checking, said Bobby as he scanned over the data that just came in. Looks good. Have him run it 2 more times. The group in the dugout watched the monitors as Darkspeed finished with the course twice more. I had him topping out at 300,000 miles per hour on one of the sprints, said Lucy. For his age and shape, I'm getting 20,000 times normal speed. That is a record, said Bobby over the earpiece to Coach Spurs. That's good, kid. Go stand with the others, Coach Spurs said to Darkspeed. The others were all watching Darkspeed as he joined them. He looked at them and did a big I told you so smile. Because I'm just that fast, he said under his breath. The students were all watching the coaches as they talked into their earpieces. Finally, the dugout gave the coaches the signal that all the students' tests were done accurately. Everyone out of the pit. We have to get you ready for your next test, Coach Inferno said. Bobby, Lucy, Jack, and Midas were all waiting at the top of the pit. They outfitted each student with a special biomonitor. Jack and Midas already had them on. It looked a lot like a silvery elastic band with a small disc in the middle. Does this round thing have to be over your heart? IQ asked. No, said Lucy. It communicates your readings to the dugout. The biomonitor works anywhere on your torso. This is your endurance test. There is a dirt road surrounding the Alpha training area. You are to run on it at your best speed for 30 minutes. Go that way, Coach Spurs said, pointing to the west. Until you come to the road. Turn right and circle the training area until you hear the air horn. Everyone get me? The children all acknowledged the coach. When I say everyone get me, you say we get you, Coach Spurs, the big coach said. Now if you morph longer legs, transform into an element, or fly, your test will be invalidated and you will have to do it again. Run under your own power. Everyone get me? We get you, Coach Spurs. Outstanding. Go! The front of the pack disappeared into the distance. Midas and Jack were in the middle of the pack. As they came up on the road fast, he noticed that his friends, the red shirts, were already breathing hard. Midas looked for someone for him to run behind. Flare was running just ahead of him. Midas knew she had a 5 for speed and was only 3 inches taller. Midas left Jack behind and ran behind Flare. There was some kind of humming noise coming from the outside of the road. That must be Darkspeed, Midas thought. Flare was 3 years older than Midas, and he found keeping up difficult. Midas just had to make up his mind to keep following the red-haired girl. Soon, a group of young people running at about same speed merged into a group. Midas found himself running with Flare, Bioforce, Frost, Ghost, and Shroud. Slightly ahead of them, Orbit, Eclipse, and Aztec were running together. After 20 minutes, Midas could tell those without either speed or endurance. His group had lapped all the red shirts. Virtuoso, Wave, Isotope, Sim, Quake, Gia, Anvil, Greco, Newton, and Granite. 2 meteor punchers behind me, 3 in front, and 1 lapping me again, Midas thought. Then, Olympian flew by at over triple his speed. The others that lapped him regularly were Saber, She, Avian, Nano, Kron, Echo, Glimmer, Ranger, Ion, Kinetic, Cyber, and Bob. Echo and Chain also passed him once. He never once saw Darkspeed. The air horn blew, and some children stopped running. Others were stoic in their run back to the pit. Once there, Bobby and Lucy took the biomonitors off Jack and Midas first. Go in the dugout and start sorting the data, Lucy said to both of them. The 2 techs continued to take the biomonitors off of the other children. Jack and Midas were doing their job when they heard the coaches let the other kids go for lunch. Bobby came rushing back into the dugout and grabbed his earpiece. "I have a rush order for 4 lunches," he looked at the others and said. "You have to get your order in quick. Once the kids get there, it's a zoo." A bot delivered lunch, and Midas ate while going over the test data. "Glad I learned to be a help and didn't have to fetch lunch." "We have 3 that are off the scale," Lucy said. Midas knew from his readings that the scale was from 1 to 1,000 times the norm. After that, it's difficult to gauge, so 1,000 is the end of the scale. "Who?" Bobby asked. "Dark Speed, Olympian, and Orbit." Olympian is the meteor puncher, Midas thought. The next few hours after lunch were not as eventful. Durability testing was slower, and a healer was always close by. Midas and Jack were the first ones through the testing. It was pretty simple. Biomonitors all over, and your body was then subjected to something that it didn't like. One test took place after another. Heat, electricity, cold, a laser, and the impact test. Most of the tests were simple, like the heat test. Midas put his hand in a liquid. The liquid got hot. Midas kept his hand in as long as he could. Then he pulled it out. Tests were the same for heat, cold, electricity, and the laser. Impact was the one that really hurt. Midas put his thigh up against this machine with a steel paddle that hit him in the side of the leg. It hurt, and he said ouch, but the coaches didn't ask him when to stop. The test was over when his skin welted. Once he thought he was done, they did the same to his upper arm. Midas then walked over to the healer, who made the welts disappear. "What wacko invented this test?" asked Jack as she hobbled over to the healer. Once both of them no longer had marks on their skin, they made their way back to the dugout. Jack and Midas were surprised to see what they saw on their monitors. "This was also a test of our pain tolerance?" asked Jack. "Yes, and before you ask, no, we couldn't tell you, or you may have acted differently," Lucy said. "Have you ever let that thing hit you?" "Yes, I have. I'm a 1. 1 times the norm for my sex, shape, age, and size," said Lucy. "Hey, I got a 20, said Midas. "Good for you," said Jack, whose sour mood would not stop. "No, you don't understand. A near miss can only get a 10 before they're considered super." "Let's see," said Bobby. "You're a 5 in your other tests, which would be the top of a near miss. A 20 on durability, that's not a near miss." "That's great. Who's up?" asked Jack. "She from Japan is up now," Lucy said. She looked at Coach Spurs and never blinked as the hits to her leg increased. Midas watched She's heartbeat and other bio readings while the strikes got harder. Never once did she blink or did her bio readings change. "That one maxed the pain tolerance test," said Lucy. "Her overall durability score is 400, said Bobby. The dugout team kept watching the test until everyone went through at least once. It took quite a while. The machine that was used for the impact testing was only able to test up to 1,000 norms. Another larger, more dangerous-looking machine was then put in its place, and 22 students were called back to continue testing. The new machine was only capable of testing up to 100,000 times the norm. The dugout watched these tests and had even more data to collect when the second round took place. When done, Coach Spurs made a few statements. "At this time, we only need 8 students to continue testing. We're taking these students to the firing range on the far north part of the training area. For those not called, you may go back to the hotel and enjoy your night, or you may follow and observe. The 8 are," Coach Inferno said in a loud voice, "Anvil, Aztec, Dark Speed, Eclipse, Granite, Isotope, Orbit, and Olympian. Please follow me." The 8 students followed the coaches. So did all the other students. None of them could think of doing anything but seeing how they were going to test the students now. At the artillery range, the coaches strapped different biomonitors to their back only. The first up was Anvil. The coach had him stand in one place. From there, he could look 100 feet to the muzzle of a 20-foot gun barrel. Behind him was a large pile of sand. "What kind of gun is that?" Jack asked. "Railgun. That way we can adjust the velocity and force," Bobby said. The coaches adjusted the railgun and projected a laser on the stomach of Anvil. The coaches checked their work twice and had the dugout check it too. With the healer standing by, the coaches gave themselves the thumbs up for the test.